Hello, my charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for another video. So today is another Tuesday work day vlog, and this is going to be a little bit of a very specific type of workday vlog because I decided that I wanted to film today the process that I take for creating my YouTube videos and getting them up onto YouTube and basically putting all that together. Now, I know a lot of you have had questions about this process and things like that, and I've covered it, I guess like bits and pieces before. So I'm hoping that today's video is going to give you more of like a behind the scenes peek at my process and answer some really big frequently asked questions that I get over and over and over from those of you in my community who either already have a YouTube channel and are trying to really kind of get down the process and the system for streamlining and producing your videos, because you know it is a lot of work to do this, especially if you're trying to do it well, right? So that's the goal here, is not just to necessarily film something on our phones and leave it unedited and then just upload it through an app to YouTube. That's all well and good, and some people can get away with that, and there's sometimes a time and a place for that. But I'm talking about the process of really producing your videos for YouTube pretty much by yourself, right? Because I am a one-woman show here, and I do all of my filming, editing, uploading myself. So I don't have any help. I do it all myself, and it is a time-consuming process, but I do have a very streamlined system for it. So I thought that today, since I'm going to be filming some YouTube videos, that I should walk you guys through almost in like a vlog style, the way that I do this. So that's the topic of today's video. If you're interested, keep watching. Okay, so like I said, the big point that I kind of want to make while, putting together this video, this vlog, and one of the big reasons that I wanted to share this information with you guys is because I think that when it comes to creating videos for YouTube and creating really well-produced content, or as well-produced as we can possibly do, right? Like, I'm not a studio, right? I can't like really produce the most like high quality videos on the internet, but I have a lot of great tools and things like that at my disposal. Plus, on top of that, I think that really most importantly, I've got down a really good system and skill set that I've developed over time. So today I want to focus on talking to you guys about the steps for streamlining your video production process for YouTube. And for me, my whole process for creating a YouTube video always begins with dun, 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 my editorial calendar. Okay, so you guys have probably heard me talk about editorial calendars before in the past. I use an editorial calendar that is inside of my planner on my month on 2 pages spread. And essentially, if you're not familiar with the term editorial calendar, an editorial calendar is simply just some sort of calendar system, paper, digital app, whatever you want to use, sticky notes, whatever. It is a system for outlining when you are going to have certain content produced or published, right? So if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that my publication, or I guess like when I produce and put out my videos, is usually Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. Now, I'm not always 100% on that, but that's the schedule that I have. So when I'm mapping out my content for the month ahead of time, I know that I need one video a week, one video for every Sunday. And I do keep like a running list of video ideas in my planner as well. So basically, when it comes time for me to fill out my editorial calendar before the month begins, I can look at that list and see what I want to film and what I feel like is timely and important and something that I'd be able to do a good job producing. So step one of this whole process for creating videos, right? Having this editorial calendar. So that's going to help you streamline your video production process like so well. So that I would highly recommend if you're someone who is already making videos, or if you're someone who wants to get into making YouTube videos, you want to start off with this concept of an editorial calendar and really map out when you would like to have certain content, published by. Now, once you know what you're going to be publishing on what time frame, one of the big secrets and things that I absolutely love to do when it comes to streamlining my work for my YouTube videos is I like to bulk film. So like I said earlier, today is a Tuesday and I generally film on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. So it really all depends on like, you know, how I'm feeling and what else I have going on. But I do like to film earlier in the week. So I also like to film in bulk. So I don't like to just film one video. And the reason for that is because of the types of videos that I put together. You guys can see like I've already done like my hair and makeup and I've got an outfit on that's cute and I painted my nails. There's a lot of pre-work that goes into before I even sit down to film. So when I, you know, bulk film videos, right? Which means I'll film like at least 2. So I like to film at least 2 videos at a time. Never just one unless there's, you know, a time crunch or a very specific reason why I'm only going to film one. It's just for me, I feel like I'm putting all this effort into a video. I might as well film 2 at once or 3 or as many as I can film in a day. I think I filmed like up to 6 in one day before. So it really just is a matter of how much time you have to sit down and film and, you know, the topics of your videos and how long they're going to be and things like that. But bulk filming is a very big, important tip that goes along with the editorial calendar. And one more thing that I guess I should say about that process as well is that when it comes to bulk filming, before I even get to the filming process, which you guys are going to see me, you know, I'm going to give you guys kind of like a vlog style look at, you know, my filming setup, what I'm doing when I put together a video. I also like to create a script for my videos. And I know that some of you have like noticed and people have commented that says this video seems very scripted. And then other times people will watch a video and they'll be like, oh, you seem so natural in this video. And the funny thing is that 99% of the time my videos are completely scripted. Now that doesn't mean that I've got like word for word what I'm going to say. Usually it's an outline, but I find that when I get in front of the camera, there may be days like today. This is actually kind of, okay, it's a little bit scripted. I do have like a list of things that I need to talk about in this video. You know, but for the most part, like everything that I'm saying to you right now is completely off the cuff, right? So there's some days where I can sit down in front of a camera and I can just talk and be very clear. And then there are some days where for the life of me, I can't form a sentence in front of the camera. And that's even after like years and years and years of me being on YouTube, right? Like I've been doing this for a long time and I've got a very strong skill set, but there are always going to be those periods of times where you just can't get into the mode of like remembering what you're supposed to be talking about or what you're supposed to be doing in a video. So having a script is so important. So I will also bulk work on my scripts. Once I've got that editorial calendar like worked out, usually I will take a day and work on some outlines or scripts for those videos, right, in bulk, right, so that it's not like I'm just working on one of them and then moving on to another task. I'm actually keeping my focus on one category of tasks, which would be script writing, right? So I've got that editorial calendar, I will bulk write my scripts, and then I will bulk film. So, you know, today is a day where I did not script out things ahead of the filming day. So like this morning, it's actually like about noon now. This morning I did spend time, you know, scripting out the videos that I want to work on for today. So, you know, this is a day that would be themed to YouTube. You guys may know from watching previous videos of mine that I do like to theme my work days as well sometimes. And yeah, so today is like a YouTube day where I got up in the morning, did my hair and makeup, got dressed, painted my nails, and worked on some scripts. And then the next thing that I actually need to do right now before I start filming is I need to organize my office, because you probably can't really see, but I need my desk to be cleared off because I'm going to be doing a planner video today. Get excited. Although you probably would have already seen it by the time this vlog goes live. But yeah, I need my desk cleared off, the background, you know, behind where I film, like right over here, is just like messy. I need to like clean that up. So I'm going to do that right now. And then we can go ahead and set up to film. Okay, so as you can see now, I have gone ahead and cleaned up my desk area, and I've got a bunch of different like planner goodies and things out because I am going to be using those as I film. I wanted to show you guys as well that here is the setup that I do with my tripod that actually has a crossbar on it. So this is actually how I film overhead shots of my planner. So you can see here, I've got my camera here. It's actually not put into its mount up there yet because I'm charging the battery. And I'm actually going to film a video on my computer first. Like I said, I'm filming more than one video today, so I'm going to do one of them on my computer, just like my iSight camera on my computer, and then the other one I will film with my good camera once the battery is charged. That was kind of like a fail on my end. So pro tip, make sure your batteries are charged before you start filming. But as you can see, this is like the general setup that I use for overhead shots. And I have done a video in the past, and I will link that down below, about how I film planner videos in case you're someone who has a normal tripod. Like this tripod here does not have a crossbar, so it does not have the ability to actually like film straight down the way this one does. But this is a Manfrotto is the name of this tripod. And I will link it down below for you guys, and I will link this mount if you're interested in this mount too. The thing about this Manfrotto system, it's a little bit more pricey. It's definitely more of like a pro sort of setup. But if you're someone who's really big into like doing planner videos, or really any videos that you need a top-down sort of look, it really is a really good investment because it really has helped me to improve the quality of my videos. So I would highly recommend it. But the thing is, because this is a pro setup, you actually buy the tripod and then you have to buy the mount separate. So there's a bunch of different options, but I chose this one because it's kind of like a photography and videography mount. I don't know. I like that mount. That's the one I got. So I will have that stuff linked down below for you guys. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead right now and just sit in front of my computer and film my first video. And then once my battery is done charging, let's see, you can see here, my battery's on the wall, just charging. Once that's done, I'll be able to film the top-down planner video. So for this first video that I'm doing, it's just me talking to the camera and kind of showing different things. So I'll be able to do it on my computer. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the setup really quickly before I got started. Okay, so it's now a few hours later and I have successfully filmed 2 YouTube videos, but it took me much longer than I had expected because I had a lot of interruptions. On Tuesdays, I always forget, on Tuesdays the landscapers come and it's always like tons of noise outside of the windows. So yeah, I kept getting disrupted. One of the videos, it took me like 3 times to film it. It was really frustrating, but such are the woes of being a YouTuber, filming YouTube videos. You got to remember that when it comes to, filming in your set, you need to have, a good amount of quiet around you depending on the types of videos that you're filming. So I actually just finished prepping my dinner for tonight because I'm probably going to eat dinner late, which is sad because my filming ran over. And I actually have to run out to the grocery store to pick up some things and run some errands real quick. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of my editing process. And that'll be on my computer and you guys will be able to see the editing process a little bit. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to give you guys a full tutorial on the software that I use, and many of you guys may be using different software, but I'll talk about some different software options for you, and you'll be able to see the general process for how I edit my videos. And then I think what I'll do at the end is we'll wrap up this video with maybe a conversation of some frequently asked questions that I get in case, there are things that haven't been talked about in this video thus far. So I'm going to go ahead and run my errands and I will be back because this is an authentic vlog. This isn't just a sit down chatty video. This is my work day doing YouTube stuff. So I'll see you guys in a few. Okay, so now let's begin the editing process. The first thing I do when I begin editing is I have to move my files from my SD card over to my external hard drive, and then I set up my project inside of my video editing software, which I use Final Cut Pro. Now, I did say that I was going to tell you guys some other options. If you are a Mac user, you can use Final Cut Pro, and I used to use iMovie, which comes standard with a Mac. But I also know that for PC users, a lot of people use Windows Movie Maker, and a good pro sort of option that might be an alternative to Final Cut for you if you're a PC user is Vegas Pro Studio. So that's another option for you guys. Okay, so once I've gotten my files into the program, you can see that right now I'm actually writing a script for a voiceover. So that is when I literally am recording just my voice to play on top of either an image or a video clip that is in there. So that is what I'm doing in this portion of the clip. Now, once the voiceover is recorded and is properly put into the video, you'll see that I'll just start editing some of my clips. Sometimes I need to speed some up, sometimes I need to slow them down, depending on the pace of the video. Now, one question I also get is about royalty-free music and the music that I use in my videos. Now, I like to use the royalty-free music that's included with my programs, such as Final Cut and iMovie. So you probably have some music or sounds that are built in that you are allowed to use freely without attribution. But YouTube also has a great resource. Their music library inside of the Creator Studio is definitely a place you want to check out if you're looking for music and sounds for your videos. Okay, so now it's time for me to give you guys those frequently asked questions about making YouTube videos. As you can see, I'm sitting in my kitchen, like in my breakfast nook area, and it's actually a few days later from when I first started filming this vlog. I realized that I'm wearing a similar black shirt, but it's not the same day as I filmed everything else. And yeah, this is not the same shirt. I changed my clothes, I promise. But let's go ahead and jump into those frequently asked questions about creating YouTube videos, my tools, things like that. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and take my glasses off and just put them on top of my head because there's a lot of glare right now. And I know that can be annoying. And I don't really need them to read these questions because they're right in front of me. Okay, so frequently asked question number one, what camera do I use, lenses, things like that. So here is my digital camera that I use to film a majority of my YouTube videos. This is a Canon EOS 80D. This is the 80D. As far as I know, there is not a 90D yet. I also have the 70D, but I don't know, I use it as like my backup camera or like my second angle if I need like a second angle or a second, shooter. But yeah, I use the Canon EOS 80D. And the lens that I mostly use to film is this Canon 24mm. And it is a, I guess you call it like a prime lens, right? It's not a zoom lens. It doesn't I can't actually like zoom in or anything with it. But I like using prime lenses to film, especially because I film a lot of like myself just sitting there. I don't film a lot of things where there's a lot going on where you might need to like change focus a lot. So I find that these prime lenses are really great. And this is actually a really inexpensive lens. I want to say it's like $125. So this isn't very expensive. It's got a really good aperture on it. It's a 2.8. So that's actually better than a lot of like the zoom lenses that normally the aperture starts at like 3.5, I want to say, unless you're getting into really, really high-end expensive zoom lenses that can be like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I actually think that this is like a pretty nice little setup here. And I guess I should let you guys know as well, I do use this, what do they call this? A bullet or a shotgun mic. It's one of those, I'm not sure, I can never remember the term. It's kind of like an off-brand Shengu. This is actually the second one of these microphones that I've used. The first one I used it to death and then it broke. You guys may remember last summer when I moved into my house, when my audio was getting funky with my camera, it was because the microphone was going bad. So I bought myself a new one. It's actually a pretty inexpensive microphone. And of course, everything that I talk about, I'm going to link down below. So if you guys are looking for different resources and things like that, definitely check out the description box. But this is what my setup is, you know, for most of my filming. I also film sometimes on my computer, as I'm doing right now. And I also sometimes film on my phone. And I also sometimes film on a Canon Vixia like handheld camcorder. That's usually for vlogging and things like that if I want to use like a dedicated camera, because I'm not the kind of person who's going to vlog with a DSLR. It's just too expensive, too heavy, all those things, etc., etc. So something I do want to address about your camera, because this is something that I get asked a lot, is do you need to have a DSLR camera in order to start on YouTube? And my answer for that, you guys, if you've been following me, you should already know the answer is absolutely not. I think you should use what you have. I think that things like a DSLR camera and, you know, a nice lens and things like that, they're wonderful and they're great tools to work up to, but they are costly. And, you know, when you're first getting started with YouTube and you're trying to build up your following, you know, unless you've got the money to invest in things like this, I think that it's better to use what you've got. And if that means that the best thing you've got is like a smartphone camera, then by all means, just use your smartphone camera and maybe buy yourself like a little tripod so that when you're filming, you know, your phone is actually steady and things like that. There are little tips and tweaks that you can actually use, you know, to make your setup, whatever camera you're using, a little bit better and a little bit nicer. And one really big tip that I actually have for kind of improving the quality of your video without having, you know, the best quality equipment is to make sure that you've got great lighting. So people ask me a lot about the lighting that I use when I'm filming. I do have a set of studio lights, but I don't use them very often because, as some of you may already know from previous vlogs and things like that, I actually have like, what do you call that, recess lighting in my office, which is where I predominantly film my videos. So I actually changed out all of the lights in my office to like bright white daylight bulbs. So it always looks daylight in my office if I turn my overhead lighting on. So luckily for me, I haven't had to really use my studio lighting very much in like the last year because the lighting in my office is so good to begin with. Now, obviously things like natural light, like this light coming in behind me, it produces like the best effect. It's super clear, you know, it really makes quality of videos much, much better. But as you might be able to tell as we're watching this segment of this video, the one issue with natural light is that it does tend to fade in and fade out. It doesn't always stay consistent for like the entire length of a video. I mean, sometimes people can get it, you know, can luck out and it'll stay consistent. But for the most part, you know, natural lighting can kind of fade in and fade out. So it's a little bit difficult to work with. So I prefer to rely on artificial lighting, those daylight bulbs in my office, or studio lighting. And of course, I'll leave a link down below to the studio lighting kit that I use so you guys can check that out if you're interested. Now, another question I get asked a lot is how I film my computer screen. As you guys saw when I was editing that video in the previous clip, I was recording my computer screen, and people also ask me how I record my iPhone screen because I often do record my iPhone screen and insert that into videos. Now, I will tell you guys now, it's a program that is on my Mac already on my computer. It is Final Cut. I'm sorry, not Final Cut. It is QuickTime. My QuickTime player actually does that, and actually QuickTime is the application I'm using right now to film this video through my iSight camera on my Mac. I do have a video about how to film your iPhone screen if you're someone who uses a Mac, so I will pull that. It's from a few years ago, but it's still relevant. I think it's still the process that I use now. So if you guys are interested in that, I will leave that link down below to help you guys because that's a tutorial that I already have done. Oh, and another question I get asked all the time is how I transfer the files from the video files from my camera to my computer. So if you are an absolute beginner and, you know, figuring out how to move files from a camera, not even just a DSLR, any camera, to your computer, if that's something that is vexing you right now. What I will say is, number one, I use cameras with an SD card, right? So you guys may be familiar with SD cards. You probably have one for your camera. It's predominantly the way that like modern video cameras and, photography cameras, store information. So I have an SD card. And then what I have that I use to transfer information from the SD card to the computer is this USB SD transfer stick. So you can see I've got this little stick and it's got a hole, like a little slot where I can plug in my SD card, see? And it's got a slot for like a mini SD too, I think. And then it has a USB end and I plug it into my computer, and then I find the SD card, usually listed among my hard drives in my, in my computer's like explore function, we'll say. And then I pull the files off of my SD card, and then I always store the files not on my computer hard drive, but on an external hard drive. So this is actually plugged in right now, so I'm not going to be able to like really pull it long, but I use an external hard drive. This one is Western Digital. Western Digital is an amazing brand for hard drives, but there's plenty of other ones. I just always go to Western Digital because I know they're super reliable and, rather inexpensive. So I always store my files, after I've taken them off of the SD card, I put them onto an external hard drive. And then I edit my videos off of an external hard drive. So essentially what happens is when I open my video editing software, which we already talked about, what I use, Final Cut, and some other options for you guys in the earlier clip while I was editing. But I edit off of an external hard drive, not my computer's hard drive. And the reason I do that is, well, years ago, when the hard drives of computers were what we call hard disks, right? There was actually like a little spinning disk. And some of you may actually have computers right now that still use a hard disk as a hard drive. But years ago, when I first started on YouTube, my computer had a disk style hard drive, which they say that, editing off of your computer's hard drive, if it's a hard disk, can make it slower, and if something happens with your files while you're editing, it could crash or overwhelm your computer if you don't have like a very good computer. So this was years ago. I'm sure if anyone has like modern computers now, that it's probably safer to edit on your hard drives on your computer, because for example, with my laptop now, I don't have a hard disk. I have what's known as a solid state drive, which is essentially, if you think about it, it's essentially like a bunch of SD cards. So it's like a big SD card. And so no moving pieces, no disk, et cetera, et cetera. So it's much more stable to edit on solid state drives. But I am still accustomed to editing on an external hard drive. Number one, because when I'm filming lots of videos and, I'm using a really good quality camera, they are large files, and I don't like to have those clogging up the hard drive of my computer. So it's good to have them on an external hard drive. And I also believe that when I use a hard drive, an external hard drive, to edit off of, that the performance of my video editing software is better. Just because, with RAM on your computer, if you've got like a lot of things working and, your computer's accessing your hard drive and, also accessing like a really complicated piece of software, I think that it can slow down your computer. But I find that if I'm using an external to edit off of, then that works. So when I say edit off of, it means that like when I open like Final Cut Pro, where my files are stored and how I access them is through the hard drive. So yes, the program is on my computer, but where everything is saving to and from is to the hard drive. So all of my projects and events and things like that go to the hard drive. So basically, this is like dedicated for editing. So that is how I actually, edit. And I guess another thing that people ask me a lot, that this might be the last question probably, is what kind of computer I use. And I'm still on the same computer I've had for years, you guys. This is an 11-inch MacBook Air from 2012. So this is like an older computer at this point, but it's still going strong. 2012 or 2013? I don't remember. I don't remember anymore, but it's several years old. And a lot of people ask me, they say, Alexis, does your MacBook Air, is it powerful enough for your video editing software, for Final Cut and Photoshop and all those sorts of things? And the truth is, yes, I've never had a problem. I will very frequently be, using Final Cut, editing off of the external hard drive. I will have like Photoshop open. I will have like my internet running. I'm like looking up things, editing photos, things like that, like putting together a video. And I've had no problems with it. So I don't have issues with, my programs crashing and things like that on my MacBook Air. And this is like an older MacBook Air. So I really like this computer. Obviously, I don't know right now if Apple still sells them. They might sell the 13-inch still. I know they've moved away from the MacBook Airs and it's like MacBook line, I guess, or you can get MacBook Pros. I used to use a MacBook Pro, but I got the MacBook Air a few years ago and it's like super portable and I absolutely love it. So yeah, those I think are probably the rest of the most frequently asked questions that I get. So I hope that this video has been helpful to any of you who are interested in starting a YouTube channel and or increasing or improving your existing YouTube channel. I would absolutely love to hear about your experience down in the comments, like what tools and things you use, what you'd suggest if you're someone who's a little bit more of an experienced YouTuber, or even if you're someone who's just getting started. Let me know what you're using, like what kind of cameras and things like that. Let's get some ideas going in the comments of this video so that this video can be a little bit more of a resource for people who are interested in starting with video if they're hesitant. Because I do think that, hearing about other people's experiences is really great. And like I said, you guys, it really does not matter if you're using like the best quality equipment. I really think you use what you've got and just get creative and get comfortable behind the camera or in front of the camera and get comfortable with editing and improving your skill. And yes, your first few videos may not be like, works of art, right? But they also don't have to be because you don't have a following yet, right? So that's the point, is to, while you're small and while you are still growing, to use that time as an opportunity to, build your skills, to test out what you've got, and to really experiment and explore your creative side, because the more you can tap into that and get creative, the more you are going to attract a bigger and better following, because you're being authentic to yourself and you're enjoying the process of creating these videos for your audience, and that'll definitely shine through in the end result. So again, I hope this video has been helpful. Check the description box for links to everything that I mentioned and maybe even extra stuff. I have no clue if I think of things afterwards. But I do hope this video has been helpful. And if it has been, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And I would absolutely love if you guys would share this video. Again, I do hope it's a little bit of a resource for anyone who is getting started with YouTube. And of course, if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos by me. And until next time, bye-bye.